is done with this community. Big Bunny deleted her ex account. Don't worry, she'll be back.
I'm trying to be honest with you. It was getting to be too much. I didn't like the things I was posting and commenting. I felt like I didn't have self-control over it. I felt like I was making mistakes with what I was posting. And I also like looking back at some of the comments I made. My rule is sleep on it. And there's no sleeping on it on X, because if you don't comment, it's gone or it's buried. And I'm like, there's no sleeping. So it was just like, I can't do this. I just can't do it. And
she doesn't want her kids to see her interview.
It would be like, that is not my mom. Like, that's not what my mom would do. That's not how my mom should be acting. Even the defiant me would never be enough for my kids, because that's not how I am. And so, yeah, that is probably the one time I'm embarrassed and shamed, and I don't want my kids to see it. I'm sure they will. We've talked about it. Somebody's saying, like, you stood up here. So not enough, because I really could have, like, gone into it and said, like, what goes on in your mind where when you see a woman cry, the first thing you think of is that she's manipulating you? Resisting the urge to talk about Will, not doing it. Some of these people are just flawed human beings, okay, who break the law and do bad shit, okay? And I'm not in that category. I also find it extremely peculiar how much Aiden is provoking me, almost daring me to react so that he can say she also suffers from Turtleboy derangement syndrome, or whatever it is. I feel he is provoking me. I think in the text messages that we had back and forth with each other, it's provocative. I think he wants, at this point, as much as he says, two people can, we cannot be friends anymore or not associate with each other and everything can be okay. I actually don't think that's the case. I think like some of the things that I've seen are just so like poking. And it's a challenge to not go full Jen Altman. It is a challenge. Listen, you know how many text messages I got from rando people that are going, call Karen Reed and get an interview. Like, that's the number one thing. I can't even believe it, but that's the number one thing I'm getting texted. Have you ever thought about asking Karen Reed for an interview? Yeah, but I wouldn't. I could call Meredith and do an interview with Meredith. You think Meredith wouldn't do an interview with me? She would 100% do an interview with me. And I think that he's just being mean deliberately to provoke me, so I will go against him, and then he can just say, see, I told you so. Aiden was very adamant that I read text messages out loud to you. He wanted to make sure I read this stuff out loud, because, whatever, I'll oblige. On Friday at 11:30, now this is the day after our interview. So our conversation was on Thursday. The Will thing was on Wednesday. My conversation with him online was on Thursday. And this is the text message I sent him on Friday at 11:30 in the morning. I'm unsure why you wanted to cut ties with me, and I definitely didn't want to do what we did yesterday, but I am doing my best to work through your decision to do that. I did not involve you in petty drama and was totally fine with how things are. Only you know why you did any of this. I think there are lines to not cross between us, and I'm not going to cross those. I've been getting bombarded from the other side to join their fight against you, but I am not responding. I don't intend to. I'll admit it, it's hard. Meredith privately is making a good case. Lastly, you were wrong about Baker. So wrong. So let me just ask everybody, what is your take on that message that I sent? I'm very interested to see what the chat says. And his response, Meredith is making a good case. And I said, just using kindness and emotion in her words. And what I meant was, and I actually get into it. Yeah, I'll read it again. I'm unsure why you wanted to cut ties with me, and I definitely didn't want to do what we did yesterday, meaning the conversation, but I am doing my best to work through your decision to do that. I did not involve you in petty drama and was totally fine with how things are. Only you know why you did any of this. I think there are lines to not cross between us. I'm not going to cross those. I've been getting bombarded from the other side to join their fight against you, but I am not responding. I don't intend to. I'll admit it's hard. Meredith privately is making a good case. Lastly, you are wrong about Baker. So wrong. And he said, Meredith is making a good case. And I said, just using kindness and emotion in her words. He said, LOL, okay, go be friends with Meredith then. And I said, that was not the point nor the focus of what I sent. I said, I don't know why you did this, but I'm not going to go against you. And he said, you just told me that Meredith is privately messaging you and making good points because she is kind and emotional. And you said it to give in to her because she's making such good points. So go be friends with her then. I said, that's not what I said. I said it's hard, but I am not responding. And he said, it's hard not to be friends Meredith because she's making such good points. So just give into your impulses and go be with her then. I don't care. And I said, okay, you're not getting it. And he said, I'm getting it. And those are your exact words. If you'd like to retract that statement, feel free to let me know. And he sent me a screenshot of it back. He sent the screenshot back to me. I sent him a voice memo. There's a little voice memo there. And he said, it's hard not to respond to the Turtleboy derangement syndrome people because they make such good points. Yeah, no shit. That's called manipulation. And I sent him a thumbs up. At that point, I could see that he was just like thinking that the way that I said that, I wanted to just say to him, like, I just want to fill you in here, dude. Everybody's coming at me, including the other side. And I'm holding my ground here. That was really my point. Like, I think I'm very clear with that. Like, it wasn't like, hey, guess what? They're coming at me and I might go. It was more or less like, I just want to prove to you, like, even though I'm being solicited, even though they're coming at me with emotion and kind of like, Meredith is being very nice in her message to me. Like, it's hard because, like, it's hard because you treated me like shit, essentially. It's hard. So when you're coming off of an interview where a conversation where you're like telling me I was crying because I was trying to manipulate you, those feelings I have and everything you said in that thing is mean and nasty. It's hard to resist the urge to feel better by joining people who are saying the same thing happened to me. But he literally just crashed out over it. So he goes, you want me to pat you on the back and tell you thank you for not running to Meredith and Jen Altman? LOL. He's like, you're on stage 2 of Turtleboy derangement syndrome. Soon you'll be saying Kate Peters making good points. I've seen this way too many times before, and one of the symptoms is you're so blinded by it, you can't even see what's happening. I will admit right there, I'm so blinded by how mean he was to me. There's that, you know what I mean? And I responded, why did you even do this to us? What did I do to you? And he said, oh, you played no part in this? Nothing is ever your fault at all. You're always right, remember? By the way, I still do not understand what I did to Aiden Carney. I had my own opinions about Broken Baker. I didn't bring Aiden into it. The next thing I know, he's on a live stream with Will shitting all over me. And then I respond to that. And now I'm the cause. I'm the problem. Like, there's just no way I see it that way. No way I see it that way. I mean, use your words. Put up a chart. Put up a graphic where I do something to you. I did nothing to you. And I responded, I just don't know how this Baker thing led to this. And he said, listen to the insanity that you just said to me right now, simping for Meredith and Jen, and then try to say with a straight face that you're thinking right. You just offended Meredith and said she's making good points. That's a bridge too far for me. That is not what I meant. What I meant was, and I guess I could have elaborated any further in the text message, but it was like, when you are hurt by Aiden Carney, it is hard to not feel like the other side will make you feel better. Does that make sense? I said, I was just telling you what's going on. And I sent him a quick voice memo. He goes, if you were just telling me that, then you tell me they messaged you and you say you're not falling for it, which I did, by the way. He goes, instead, you're telling me they're making good points, AKA they're right. And I was just like, love you. Hope you have a better day. At that point, I was in Target with Georgia. I was like, I'm not doing this. And he goes, yeah, maybe the fact that your inbox is filled with Turtleboy derangement syndrome people should be a sign. I sent him a voice memo, and I would play it, but I just don't know if I said anything that can't be public. And he goes, I want to hear more about the good points Meredith and Jen Altman made in your inbox. And I responded, I can tell that you're not approachable. It was not the best idea to even text you. And he goes, why can't you ever answer tough questions on the spot? You said Jen and Meredith made good points. What were the good points? And I just said to you, what I don't want to say like I couldn't come up with anything on the spot, but it was hard in this intense texting for me to like say what I'm saying now, which is, I think I'm very, I explained it well. And I didn't respond. He goes, actually, you should just go on your next show and read the text you sent to me here verbatim. Just do that instead. So I am doing that. I responded, I said, you're so silly. So now I'm just trying to like take it down a notch. I talked about Meredith and Jen on my show today. I said they were making their case. I said Meredith was being kind and sweet. You don't know that because you don't watch the show. Nothing I texted you is any different than what I said this morning. And everyone listening knew exactly what I meant. He said, I heard what you said this morning. I didn't hear you say Jen and Meredith were making good points. You should share that part. And I said she's making a good case. He goes, this part, you should say this part on your show. He wants me to read this part again, specifically. I have been getting bombarded from the other side to join their fight against you, but I'm not responding. I don't intend to. I'll admit it's hard. Meredith privately is making a good case. He wants me to make sure you know I read that to you. And he said, I'm glad they're being kind to you. Have a nice life. And I was standing in the seasonal section of Target, and I went, holy shit. And I typed that. I went right back to him. I was like, holy shit. And he goes, I'm just really happy for you that the people who have made dozens of Twitter accounts mocking your weight and saying the most disgusting things to you have suddenly decided to be nice and kind to you. They make a lot of good points, and I'm sure it's, quote, it's hard not to join forces with them. Good luck with your journey. And I went, my God. And that was that. Have a nice life. Have a nice life. And it shouldn't be hard. That's really that's what I see. He is angry because I even said that it was hard. He is very upset. It added to some other like major problem he had, which is probably, I will say that this interaction here made it crystal clear to me that I never, ever, ever want to speak to this person again. Ever. Again, this is not a, I don't think that what happened to him is correct. All of those things can be the same. And certainly over the past 2.5 years have been able to identify times and opportunities where this behavior has been on full display in regards to other people, whether it's Karen, whether it's Jim Altman, whether it's Meredith, whether it's anybody, right? Listen, his personality, his character, it spans everybody. So there's all of that. I guess just being on the receiving end of it is different, and it's crazy to me. I always thought that I was like going to be different. I always thought he was never going to treat me that way. I always did. I thought that because I was so loyal to him that I would never be on the receiving end of it, ever. And, I cannot help but go back to the Will stream, and I'm going, how did this even happen? How did this go from like me, even if like the Baker thing was what it was, he gave the advice, he didn't take it. Why did it change? I don't understand. I still don't understand it. And he doesn't answer. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I can't figure it out because I didn't take his advice. I mean, that's it. Crazy.